गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री Gurave Namaha. So last week we were looking at having experienced this bliss, how does this individual behave in the world? Now who is this person who has experienced the bliss, who has practiced the samadhi abhyas, and in that practice he has invoked great faith in himself, in the Lord, in the scriptures, and in the sadhana that he is practicing. And as a result, whatever the mind does not know the difference between the real and the imaginary. This is the way mind functions. You impress on the mind, I like something, and you start liking it. You impress on the mind, I don't like something, and you stop liking it. Mind has got no idea what is like and dislike. It's just a creature of habit. So similarly, right now, we have impressed on the mind that the world is real. So we try to seek the joy from the world. But once we practice samadhi abhyas, meditation on a daily basis, the whole technology was given, the contemplation was given, and when he starts doing this with deep faith, utter faith, that it is the right way. Faith means what? Believing in something that you do not know, that one day you will come to know, isn't it? So what are you believing in now? What are you having faith in? You are having faith in the bliss, the conscious principle, the unending happiness, which is not other than yourself. And why you don't know it yet? Because through the mind you don't know it. Mind can never come to know this self, because it is the substratum of the mind also. And therefore we say, believing in something that you do not know. So whom we are telling this? We are not telling you, we are telling the mind. You are not the mind. Mind is the instrument which thinks. So this mind is thinking about the self which it does not know. And to get to that, there is nothing there, then it will not reach that destination. When it starts contemplating on it on a daily basis, regularly, in and through all his activities, then a point comes, just like right now. Before, we never used to go to do exercise. Now we go to do exercise. So now automatically in the morning you get up, you go and do exercise. Before you never meditated, now you have started meditating. If you have faith in the meditation, and once you make it into a habit, slowly, you want to sit in meditation on a daily basis when you wake up. And now the day is not complete without connecting with yourself. Slowly, just like right now it is a default mode that we are addicted to the world. After some time, through this practice, we will get addicted to our own conscious nature. We will get addicted to this Brahmananda. And this example will be given now, how it happens. So here, such a seeker with faith and commitment, discarding the Vasanananda during the state of indifference, engages himself in the primary bliss of Brahmananda alone, discarding the bliss of Vasanananda. What was Vasanananda? Remember again? Vasanananda was remembered bliss. Remembered bliss. From where? From previous meditation, from moments of just before you go to sleep, you are experiencing that bliss. That is impressed on your mind. When you wake up from the sleep, that bliss that you experienced in deep sleep, that is impressed on your mind, isn't it? So that is the Vasanananda. So this seeker with faith and commitment, he has given up first the joy which is gained or which is experienced by gaining the objects. We, a common man, normally thinks the joy is inherent in the object. We have seen in this chapter that the joy, the bliss is inherent in your nature. It is ever present. But only because there is a desire for it, desire for something, it remains covered by the thoughts. The moment that thought wave of desire gets satisfied as a result of attainment of that particular or fulfillment of that particular desire, the moment it gets fulfilled, mind becomes wave desire free, and at that moment the bliss within starts, we experience the bliss. So this is Vishayananda. So he has discarded that. Now he comes to Vasanananda. Vasanananda, as we just now said, it is the remembered bliss. In the deep meditation, Vasanananda, if focused upon, will take you into deep sleep. It will take you into deep sleep. So a lot of people enjoy meditation like anything. Why? Because they think that they are in meditation, but actually they are sleeping. See? Why? Because their attention is on the bliss. Their attention is not on the self. So when people say, oh, the meditation was fantastic, it was beautiful, their attention is not on the self. Their attention is on the mind and or the bliss which is remembered by the mind. That is why this comment comes. Otherwise, the one who is established in the self, for him, sitting in meditation or moving in the world is one and the same, because he is continuously immersed in his own essential nature, isn't it? So this way, this is the second one, Vasanananda. And what happens in the Vasanananda, when you are experiencing the bliss, you become indifferent to the world. And the seeker who wants Brahmananda, who wants the infinite bliss, he even gives up this feeling of indifference towards the whole world. Now continuing, now and with practice the duality becomes less intense and bliss becomes more intensely obvious. Now an example is given to show how Nijananda, that is Brahmananda, is possible. Not only in the Udasina Avastha by rejecting Vasanananda, but also while one is engaged in worldly activities where Brahmananda becomes a constant companion. I don't know if I gave this example in this. It came before also in one of the chapters, in the chapter 9, a long time ago we took. But a very stark example. It says, Paravyasanini nari, Paravyasanini nari, Vyagrapi gruha karmani, Vyagrapi gruha karmani, Tadeva swadayantyantaha, Tadeva swadayantyantaha, Parasangarasayanam, Parasangarasayanam. A woman in love with another man, although busy in house, holds job, enjoys the experience of the pleasure of her contact, with his other man in her heart. So the example taken is a woman is a, a woman married, having kids, goes to shopping, and when she goes to shopping, a man is wanting her attention, but she is not available. He comes one day, he looks at her, she looks at him, nothing happens. Just another event of the day. Goes away. Next day she comes for shopping vegetables. Again this fellow is there. Again they look at. This time there is a smile on each one's face out of courtesy. Third day she comes. He also comes and he is standing next to her. And when she picks up the tomato, he also picks up the same tomato and his hand touches her hand and a current passes through her. Fifth day she goes, and as the days go by, slowly, their contact with each other slowly turns into a loving relationship. Now, this lady is living at home with her husband, with her children, doing perfectly all the things that she was doing before, taking care of the children, taking the studies of the children, cooking, cleaning, etc., shopping. But where is her mind? Her mind is on her beloved. See? So when a person falls in love, same thing happens. You go to work, you are driving the car, you are doing everything, but your mind, in the back of your mind, continuously the thread of thought of your beloved is there. Similarly, a wise man who has come to realize himself, the thread of the Brahmananda is continuously there in the person's mind, even when he is moving around in the world. It is possible. So here it is told that the seeker will no longer Brahmananda once tasted, the seeker will no longer be able to drop it, whether he is busy in the world, Vishayananda, or not, as in the case of Vasanananda. But he has understood that the source of Vishayananda and Vasanananda is the Brahmananda. See? Once you have tasted the taste of sugar, you will never in your life forget the taste of sugar, isn't it? Sweetness. Exactly the same way. This is further explained. Evam tattve pare shuddhe, evam tattve pare shuddhe, dhiro nishranti magataha, dhiro vishranti magataha, tadeva swadayatyantaha, tadeva swadayatyantaha, bahirvyavaharannapi. Similarly, a wise man, having quietened his mind in the bliss of pure self, although functioning in the outer world, is tasting the bliss of Brahman within his heart. So just like the lady who is doing all the chores in the outside world, but is experiencing the embrace of her beloved in her heart. Similarly, this wise man who has experienced the embrace of his own essential nature, the Ananda, the Brahmananda, once he has tasted that, it will never leave him. See? In this way, by constant contemplation, samadhi abhyas, listening to the silence, emptying the mind, etc., He who has finally found peace and rest within after running around in the world for seeking happiness but not finding it and getting weary like the Shakuni bird or the bird that goes to the sea from the mast of a ship, returning there only for rest. This wise man, this dhira vishranti magataha. So this dhira purush, um, uh, in him, when the individuality dissolves in its own absolute essence, such an individual is called a dhira purusha. See how beautiful. These are this statement is made many times in Gita, in Pancadasi, in Puranas, but man is not ready to listen. He understands everything, but he doesn't want to implement it in his life. Why? Because he has faith that the world will give him joy and happiness. That is why he keeps running after the world. That the world will give me joy and happiness. If I gain one house, if I gain two houses, if I gain these shares, if I get married, if I have children, that is the source of happiness. But what is the real source of happiness? Coming to abide in your own essential nature. And we are, by doing all these other things, we are running away into the not self. And from that not self, we are trying to gain happiness, which is not possible. In this chapter, it was shown that the bliss is not from the outside. Bliss is your own essential nature. Then such a person, bahi vyaharan api antaha tat eva aswadayati, then he may give the impression that he is deeply involved in worldly affairs, but that does not keep him away from Brahmananda. This is the state of a Mahatma who seems to be concerned about the world, but in reality they are far away, immersed in their own inner bliss. For this example, there are enough. Satya Sai Baba is one example. Build hospital after hospitals, build the canal from the lake to the Chennai city, and just like that, hundreds of millions of dollars, and just offer it to the Chennai council, city council. Yeah, Prasad, present to you. Built it in 1 year. Specialty hospital, 6 months. So much things he is doing, but you can look into his eyes and you know he is somewhere else. He is not with this whole thing. Look at Ammachi's eyes. Same thing. They are doing so many projects in India, in the world, helping people. But if it comes to a tea, they will drop everything, isn't it? Look at Raman Maharishi, build the whole ashram, questions and answers. But in a moment, he was able to go into samadhi. And for us, it seems like it is going to take lifetime to get into samadhi. Why? Only one reason. Our Shraddha is not on the self that we are. Our Shraddha, faith, is on the world. That is the only difference. We believe, the statements come, oh, we must live a balanced life. What do you mean by balanced life? 1 foot in the world and 1 foot in the meditation. That will not work. That will not work. You can come to abide in yourself, then you can live a balanced life. You can live in the world without forgetting yourself. But while living in the world, you can never come to know. While living in the world means, while pursuing the world, you can never come to know the self. Impossible. You have to pursue the self. Then alone the self will become available. Does that mean that I have to give up my job, I have to give up my duties, I have to give up my family? Giving up does not mean running away into the mountains. Giving up means giving zero value to all these things even when they are being done. Because where is your attention? On the self. This Dhira Purusha is further described. Now the Lakshanas. Lakshanas, how does this realized master, how does this person who is established in his essential self, which is the same as Brahmananda, how does he move around in the world? Is he affected? So these next few verses are talking about that. धीरत्वम् अक्षप्राबल्येऽपि धीरत्वम् अक्षप्राबल्येऽपि आनन्दास्वादवाञ्छया आनन्दास्वादवाञ्छया तिरस्कृत्याखिलाक्षाणि तच्चिन्तायां प्रवर्तनम्. Although all the senses are functional, disregarding them in favor of the desire for the bliss of self and getting engaged in contemplation on the bliss is being a wise seeker. So you can take it both ways. These are pointers for you to be the wise person, or this is how the wise person has become wise. What has he done? That we see the wise person also has the senses, he also has a mind, he also eats and he also becomes thirsty, he also goes to sleep, he also does so many things at the body level, at the sensory level. Disregarding them in favor of the desire for the bliss of the self. But he is not ruled by his senses. We, on the other hand, we are ruled by our senses. We are ruled by our mind. We are enslaved by them. But he disregards, he is indifferent. Remember the udasina bhav? Like that. He is indifferent. He has detached himself from the senses, even though they are functioning. How is that possible? Just like right now, you are indifferent to so many sensory stimuli available in this room, because your focus is on what you are hearing. So even though your eyes are going here and there, or even looking at me, they are looking at the shawl, they are looking at the sofa, they are looking at the laptop, but are these other things making an impact on your mind? Why they are not able to make an impact on your mind? Because all energy of the mind, or all the focus of the mind, concentration of the mind is on the speaker. Isn't it? So this is the quality of indifference. Indifference doesn't mean being dry. Understand the meaning of being indifferent or being detached. Detached does not mean to become divorced. To be detached or renounced doesn't mean you have to run away somewhere. This is the nuance. And you are practicing it. Scriptures are not teaching you anything that you are not already practicing in life. And therefore I am bringing this point up right now. That you already know how to be indifferent. Everything. When we are talking on the street, we are listening, talking to each other. There is sound of the traffic, there is sound of the TV, there is sound of other people. But we are focused on whom we are talking to, even though other sounds are coming on our ears, but they are not able to impact us, isn't it? And you have noticed some days, sometimes it happens, that out of that crowd of people, someone calls someone whose name is same as you. And he calls, "Hey Deven," and Suddenly that word Devain falls on you. You are talking to someone, and that one word is able to distract you from your focus, isn't it? Because you give value to that word Devain. See? So now find out if this is the way it is happening. Right now, are you enslaved by the sense stimuli or the senses themselves? Or are you, or have you been able to bring them under your control? We can forcibly bring them under control, but that is not our goal, to bring them forcibly, because then there will be a reaction. Then how do we bring them under our control? By increasing our faith, by increasing our practice, by focusing our attention more intensely on the conscious self, on the reality within. Because even when you sleep every night, eventually you wake up, isn't it? So how long can you keep your eyes open? How long can you keep your breath from going out or in? Kumbhak lagaoge, it is called kumbhak when you breathe in and stop. Or you breathe out and stop, it's called kumbhak. How long? 30 seconds, 1 minute? Great adepts can do it for 1 or 2 minutes. Us, 30 seconds is also too long, isn't it? So the nature of the nose is to breathe in and out and smell whatever comes. The nature of the eyes is to go out and take in the various stimuli. The nature of the ear is to hear the sounds. The nature of the skin is to feel. The nature of the tongue is to taste. There are yogis who just take one of these and spend their whole lifetime trying to control that. There are. But is that our goal? To control the senses? Or is our goal to realize ourselves? This clarity must be there. If we are focused on the self, automatically, why one? All the 5 senses plus the mind will come under control by themselves. You don't even have to practice controlling them. But those rare individuals who are interested only in knowing their own essential nature, they close their eyes, turn their attention inwards, they do not sleep, they are very much alert and awake, inquiring into their own nature. Such individuals are called Dhira Purusha. Such people are called the wise people. And eventually they come to abide. There is nothing impossible in this world. Everything is possible. But price has to be paid. You have to pay the price. So what is the price that you have to pay in order to focus on the reality that you are? You have to give the attachment to the world, the importance that we give to the world of things and beings, that has to be neutral. That gets neutralized. That is the price. You don't have to neutralize it. You don't have to give it up. But that will be the price that you will have to pay. But when you realize that, actually it was not a price to pay. Because then you, with a renewed vision, you look at the whole world as an expression of that self alone. Before there were likes and dislikes, there were friends and enemies, there was love and hate. Now there is only unconditional love, because everyone is an expression of the self alone. See? But when we have not come to know ourselves and we are speaking to each other, then we talk about what is the What is the price that I have to pay for this? Because that's how we understand, isn't it? And in this way, the individual who has developed patience and desires to know the truth is said to possess the quality of a Dhira Purusha, who, in spite of possessing the ability and capacity to enjoy the world of the senses, is not interested in the tickling of sense enjoyments. See? Sometimes it can be, you are looking at here, the computer is open. What is that program that Swamiji has put on? Isn't it? It can come. Our attention can go on very unnecessary things sometimes. And for that moment that it goes there, we are not listening, but our attention has gone on the pattern. Achha, pattern, I never watched. I think this has faded. How did it fade? Oh, maybe because the curtains are open and the sun comes in and it has faded the sofa. But for that moment that this dialogue went through your mind, you have not been available to what was being talked, isn't it? That is the distraction. You go off into a tangent. This is called enslavement of an object. You are at the mercy of this object called sofa or that pattern. Then attention on something other than the self, then it will lead from one thought to the next thought to the first the pattern, then the faded pattern, then how did it get faded? Oh, then the curtain must have opened, then the sun must have... See how many thoughts one thought has led to? But when you come to the thought of Brahmananda, when you come to the thought of to contemplate on the self, it does not lead to many other thoughts. And even if it leads to some other contemplative thoughts, eventually it leads to silence. It leads to conscious silence. It leads to avoidance. His one demand, one desire is the absolute bliss, the Brahmananda. Therefore, he is able to shut down all his senses so that they are unable to have any influence on him. Kalidasa, one great poet, he says, Dhiratvam, and that means, what is the word? His definition of Dhira means the wise person. Although many temptations abound around, his mind is not corrupted. Such is a Dhira Purusha according to him. And so is the definition of the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita also, there are a few verses attributed to this word Dhira. In many Upanishads, this word Dhira is talked about again and again. So, who is this Dhira Purusha? Who is this wise person? Who is not in short, who is not affected by the world and who is addicted to the reality, to the Brahman, to the Brahmananda within, which is not other than the self. And in this way, he continuously contemplates on that reality, that bliss which is continuous without a break and never ends. He is not looking, you can look for bliss, but you can also say he is looking for that which never ends. Truth is that which has got no beginning and no end. Self is that which has got no beginning and no end. Another, the Sanskrit word for self is Atman. It has got no beginning and no end. So the fact that we think I was born on this day and one day I will die, is just a concept of the mind. Flick it away. It's not the truth. You are a continuous person. From childhood till now, the body has changed, the breath changes, the mind, the concepts, the ideas, the emotions, they keep changing. But you have known all of them, isn't it? Do you feel that you have changed? When you look at the body, you look at yourself in the mirror, you feel you have changed because you are identified with the body. See? The knower has to be other than the known. So if you know the thoughts are changing, the knower is different to the known. You are other than the thoughts. See? Keep looking at the thoughts. I am not the thoughts. You will not come to realize because it's like standing on the traffic, on the Springville Road and watching the traffic go by. What have you achieved by watching the traffic? Nothing. Only the exhaust fumes will go in and some moment you will stop watching. You will get tired. You will get exhausted. Our goal is not to watch the thought parade. Our goal is to come to the essence of ourselves. In Shloka 123, 123 above, it was said that this Dhira Purusha attains Vishranti, that is fatiguelessness. The nature of this Vishranti is now explained. Here the word came. Dhiro Vishranti Magataha. Evam Tattve Pare Shuddhe. Dhiro Vishranti Magataha. So that word Vishranti, Vishranti means the rest. So there is Shanti, Ashanti, Prashanti, and here we got another Vishranti. Vishranti is, as he says, it is fatiguelessness, where one is absolutely inspired every moment without getting tired. Dynamically inspired. That inspiration, what is difference between inspiration and motivation?
Inspiration comes within and motivation
From
outside.
outside. I can motivate you. I cannot inspire you. People say, I will inspire you. You cannot inspire. Someone cannot inspire someone. Inspiration is always from within. Motivation is from without. I can motivate you, or some goal in front of you can motivate you. Some object, I want to own a house, can motivate for you to put more efforts in life. See? But that motivation can what is that? Can fluctuate. Can fluctuate. A person who needs motivation, he needs, hey, you are doing such a great job. Oh, you are really good. Oh, you made a fantastic sale. Oh, we are so lucky to have you in our company, or, a lot of people, they want that praise continuously in order to remain motivated in life to do something or the other. Whether it is in volunteer organization, whether it is in work environment, they want a praise. If they are not praised, they feel that they are being used and abused. Nobody is recognizing our presence, isn't it? But the one who is inspired, will he wait for someone's praise? Whether someone praises or doesn't praise, this fellow is motivated from within, and that is inspiration. No, the one who is motivated because of other people, the moment first obstacle comes, challenge comes, difficulty comes, his motivation becomes less. The one who is inspired from within, difficulties come, challenges come, problems come, he gets even more inspired to overcome them. See? Find out which one are you. A child is motivated to learn walking, or is he inspired to learn walking? Think.
Just instinct, isn't it?
But it is from within. He's watching everyone walking around, isn't it? And that inspiration is there within also to become better and better than what we are today. Everyone has it in them, isn't it? Everyone wants to be happy. Nobody wants to be miserable. The child also. But how many times he falls, how many times he cries, but his inspiration to become that I'm learning to crawl, then I'm learning to stand, then I'm learning to walk, then I'm learning to run. In spite of so many times he cries or he falls down, it doesn't deter his progress, isn't it? Why? Because that it is coming from inside. It is not coming from outside. So same thing here now. And it becomes effortless. That ability in a child to tirelessly pursue, to crawl, pursue. You see the small child. First they learn to turn this way, that way. Continuously they keep trying, and one day, and there is a big smile. They continuously pursue to keep crawling, to sit and crawl, and one day they crawl. It is an unstoppable thing. Then they learn to walk, they continually keep there as if there is nothing else in their minds. The one thing I have to learn how to. So are you continuously contemplating on the truth without getting tired? What does it mean without getting tired? It is not, we are not talking about everyone will get tired. Every day if you are working, you will get tired and you go to sleep, isn't it? Similarly, thinking also makes people tired. Sometimes we see people go off to sleep in the class itself. Why? Because they are contemplating and the mind becomes silent and they are unable to remain awake because the default process is silent mind means sleep. So you have to put efforts not to go to sleep. Then you have to do what is required not to go to sleep. Maybe you have to breathe harder. Maybe you have to keep chanting some mantra so that, and loudly, not mentally, so that you don't go to sleep. See? And a point comes, as you are going through this process, your body will start aching, your mind will start, you'll get a headache. If you want a good body, you have to go to gym. If you go to gym, you will get body aches. Till you reach a point where ache or no ache, it does not matter anymore, isn't it? Similarly in this process also, a point comes that your attention is not on getting tired, your attention is not on how the mind is getting disturbed or how the body is getting stiff, or oh my God, I sat in meditation for 2 hours and now I can't unlock my legs. Oh my God, I think because I am doing the japa or I am doing the meditation, my memory is, I'm losing memory. I can't remember anything. So what is the first casualty? Stop meditation. Think. But they don't realize, once you go through this, when you come out on the other end, you will be a new person. Every night when you go to sleep, you start losing memory. Every day. When the sleep you are not gone to sleep and the sleep is overpowering, you forget all those things that you have to do in the world. You are losing memory of the world. But next day when you wake up, are you not fresh? Are you not ready to take on the challenge of the day? Exactly the same way. Let go of everything, come to this infinite principle that your essential nature is, and then when you wake up to it, the whole vision is different for this wise person. Here the example taken is, just as a porter carrying a load, when he unloads it for some time, he stays relaxed and free from the exhaustion of the load. So also discarding the worldly involvement, this kind of experience and understanding is meant by the word Vishramaha. Vishram is, sometimes people take a power nap. What is that power nap for? You are exhausted physically or mentally, and in that 5, 10, 15 minutes, half an hour power nap, you drop everything in the world, go back into the sleep, and when you wake up, come out of it, you are absolutely fresh, isn't it? Vishramaha is this power nap, the divine power nap. Divine power nap. That you have come to realize, I am carrying the load. I am carrying the load of desires. Enough of it. Whole life I have been carrying it. Enough of it. Let me come to myself. We are talking about meditation right now. Let me come to the meditation. Let me come to myself. Let me abide in myself. And you come to yourself, and for the time that you are in, initially when we start meditation, we are trying to meditate. But somewhere in that process, if you do it correctly, meditation happens. And for that moment, everything, just like the laborer has left his load and is relaxed, you have left the load of the world, you have left the load of your ambitions, you have left the load of all the, of everything, of the body, of your desires, and you are absolutely relaxed and restful in your own self. That is Vishranti. And connect to this every day, come back. You are doing, understand the principle. You are doing it, but going into deep sleep every day. Meditation is being awake and going to sleep. Allowing the mind to, what is sleep? Mind becoming empty. Meditation is making the mind empty and you remain aware of it. That's all. Do the whole preparation. Find out. You just contemplate on what is the reason that you go to sleep every day. And what is the result of the sleep every day? That you become fresh next day, isn't it? But every day you go to sleep, every day you wake up. So which means that freshness is not lasting. It is temporary. Therefore you need to go to sleep every day, isn't it? Can I stop this cycle every day going to sleep and every day waking up fresh? I want to be fresh all the time. Come to realize yourself, come to abide in yourself, and you will be fresh all the time. This is what is told. The Jnani Purusha, the man of wisdom, sheds the burden of relative existence when he understands that all the load of worldly relationships only takes one away from the Lord and experiences peace. He feels no longer weighed down by the world, the samsara, neither his participation in the world nor his withdrawal from it is able to influence him anymore. So you have to go beyond both. The manifestation of the world and the unmanifestation of the world. From the presence of the world and the absence of the world. Presence of the world is waking and dream, absence of the world is deep sleep. We have to go beyond all the three in meditation. Then we are abiding in the self. This thought is continued. Vishrantim paramam praptaha, Vishrantim paramam praptaha, Tvaudasinye yatha tatha, Audasinye yatha tatha, Sukha dukkha dashayam cha, Sukha dukkha dashayam cha, Tadanandaika tatparaha, Tadanandaika tatparaha. He who has attained the state of experience of supreme freedom engages himself in the experience of the bliss of the self alone, whether in joy, sorrow, or indifference. So, what is this Vishranti? Vishrantim paramam praptaha. Having attained, having gained prapti, what? Paramam Vishranti. That transcendental, that supreme rest, that supreme peace, that supreme, as a result of complete offloading of all the burdens and abiding in the self. The supreme restfulness where there is no fatigue, no tension, no worry, as in the case of Udasina Avastha, where he is not involved in the world but totally involved in Paramananda. Sukha dukkha, for him, Sukha dukkha dashayam cha tadanandaika tatparaha. Sukha dukkha, joys and sorrows, they are not able to affect him, and nor is the udasinata. Udasinata, indifference. Even indifference is not able to affect him. He has become indifferent to the indifference also. So, joys and sorrows, the world comes to us. We give it value, and based on that value, we become joyful and sorrowful, isn't it? The joys and sorrows are not in the world. For some person, marriage may be a joy. For another person, marriage may be a miserable, a dukkha, a state of misery. For one person, eating a sweetmeat is joyful. Another person, eating sweetmeat is miserableness, isn't it? It is how we interact with the whole world. But this fellow is no longer, he has dropped the whole world. He is not giving any value to it. He has neutralized it. How do you neutralize it? By focusing on the self and eventually abiding in the self. Once he abides in the self, then there is no question of joys and sorrows arising out of him. After he realizes the mind may be joyful or sorrowful. If a realized master is pricked with a pin, he will feel the pain. If he hits his toe against a stone, he or she will feel the pain. But there is no owner of the pain. There is no owner of the pain. This we may not understand at the moment, but we can appreciate it. And in this way, he is totally immersed only in Brahmananda, Sukha Dukkha and even Udasinata drop away from him effortlessly. Agni pravesha hetau dhihi, Agni pravesha hetau dhihi, Shrungare yadrushi tatha, Shrungare yadrushi tatha, Dhirasyodeti vishaye, Dhirasyodeti vishaye, Anusandhana virodhini, Anusandhana virodhini. Just as a person desirous of entering fire has an attitude of dispassion towards ornaments, etc., so also a seeker, Dhira Purusha, develops an attitude of total dispassion towards all the themes that are contrary to contemplation on the bliss of the self. Here the example is given is of in the olden times, because this is written many hundreds of years ago, the sati, the ladies, when their husband used to get passed away, they used to immolate themselves on the pyre of their husband. So will she have any attraction towards the ornaments or the beautiful saris, or she has total dispassion towards everything. Similarly, we can imagine one who is ready to die, will he have any attraction towards the possessions? No. Similarly, the person whose only focus is to recognize who he is, will he have any attraction towards the world? He will not have any attraction. And this example, I have given one example before. When your attention is on the sleep, do you have any attraction towards the world? No attraction. You drop the value giving to the world because you have given more value to the sleep. Value can only go one way, either this way towards the world or towards the sleep. Now you have started giving value to the sleep, so the world drops away. And in this way, he reaches this high degree of dispassion and non-involvement. His understanding becomes conducive to the contemplation of Brahman in a very natural and effortless way. Another problem which we people as seekers come by is, we think by reading books, by listening to lectures, by listening to CDs, etc., we will gain knowledge. Isn't it? Exactly contrary is true. How does knowledge come? How does knowledge come?
Experience.
Not even experience of the world. Our word of experience is experience of the world. All the knowledge that you collected in school, do you remember anything? Do you remember anything from the school? Few things you will remember, not everything. Exactly the same thing happens with this also. We study scripture after scripture, books after books. We want to read this, we want to read that. It makes us feel good. But it does not stay. It does not stick. Why? Because whatever we have read, we have not implemented. Then how does the knowledge become our own? Or once you have tasted the sugar, now do you need to read a book on what sweetness is? Do you need to read a book? It becomes your own knowledge, isn't it? That is wisdom about sweetness. Fire is hot. For a small child, you will keep telling, it is hot, it is hot. He does not understand. As he said, he experiences the fire, now he knows what hot is, isn't it? But that is that experience. Once we experience the self, when we are focused on the self, see, people think that we have to go through, before I get to that point, people feel that we have to go through experiences of life to become matured and wise. How many experiences will you go through? It will be, you have already gone through lifetimes of experiences. How many more? This world is endless, with endless options. How many experiences you will gain? And say, now it will never complete. Who is a wise man? Now come to the point. If we cannot have every experience of every person while we are living, then how can we become wise? Wise man is he, intelligent person is he who learns from other people's experience. Agree or not? You don't have to go through every experience yourself. For some things you need to, sugar I have to taste. But don't jump in the well. If you jump in the well, you might die. No, I must experience and find out whether I die or not. That's foolish, isn't it? No, don't stand in front of the truck. You will get crushed and you will die. No, I am reality. Reality is deathless. I'll stand in front of the truck. Try. There will be no one to come back and answer back, isn't it? So one thing is, we go to the classes, we go to the satsangs, we read the books. But when does all that is given in the scriptures click within? Only in meditation. The more we contemplate on this indivisible principle, this continuous principle, the essence that I am, the closer we go to it, to that extent, the impact of the world reduces. As the impact of the world reduces, the thought waves about the world in the mind reduce. In that, the reflection of the self appears, and by its grace, the knowledge comes. Knowledge must reveal from within. Majority of the masters in our country, they have not gone to a teacher. They have not studied scriptures. Satya Sai Baba did not go to any teacher. Ramayana, Mahabharata, Upanishads, they just come out of him. You have read his biography, isn't it? Which class he attended? He practiced self-contemplation. Ammachi, she did not go to any, she does not have a guru, only Dattatreya. She, from the time she was 6-7 years old, she used to just sit in meditation. All the knowledge revealed itself to her. Jnaneshwar Maharaj never went to, his brother was the teacher, only for saying, but he was from within. Gajanan Maharaj, Shirdi Sai Baba, Anandmayi Ma, Neem Karoli Baba, Meher Baba, Mahavatar Baba, whom have they gone to? You read their biographies, you don't find any teacher. It does not mean that the teacher is not there. They have found the teacher in their own heart. And that teacher in their heart is their essential nature. It has caught their imagination and they are after it. But we have more faith in the world, and because we have more faith in the world, therefore we want to learn from the world about spirituality. We are not ready to take what it is required. We are not ready to do what is required to be done to fall back into ourselves. We keep giving excuses. No, I'll start tomorrow. I think, oh my God, I can only sit for half an hour meditation. Oh, I think today 15 minutes is enough. As long as I touch myself, that's enough, you know. What have you touched yourself? Nothing. See? All this dialogue, after I eat my dinner, then I'll sit in meditation. You will only sleep. And then you get up in the morning, tomorrow I'm going to start. And you get up in the morning. And then after shower I will sit. After shower, my stomach is gurgling, I have to go to toilet. I'll go to toilet. Oh, but now I cannot sit because I have to shower. We keep delaying it. Here, there is no special event that you have to do in order to meditate. Fall in love with the self that you essentially are and remember it in and through all events of your life on a moment by moment basis. And when that feeling comes from within, Because you cannot decide, I want to sleep. Sleep pulls you to it at night. In meditation also, if you are living life fully, dynamically, with inspiration, continuously remembering and keeping a part of your mind contemplating on the self, a point will come within few days where the pull comes from inside that you want to sit in meditation. Then true meditation begins. Then true meditation begins. Then it is not an imposition. Then it is not what you call, oh my God, I can't get time. Time, you find time automatically. When you are hungry, whatever you may be doing, you find time to cook and eat, isn't it? When you are so busy during the day and you have to do something, you will find time to do that. Till we don't give value to this self that we essentially are, till then we are just going around in circles, not hitting the bullseye. Bullseye is here, within, as the self. So, when we are completely rested in our own essential nature, there is no fatigue, there is no tension, there is no agitation, there is no tiredness, there is no what you call joys or sorrows, there are no worries, there is no fluctuation of the mind. In other words, there is no fluctuation of the mind. And in this way, this is explained to us or illustrated by a example. Did we read this verse? No. Agni pravesha hetau dhihi, Agni pravesha hetau dhihi, Shrangare yadrushi tatha, Shrangare yadrushi tatha, धीरस्योदेति विषये, धीरस्योदेति विषये, अनुसंधान विरोधिनी, अनुसंधान विरोधिनी. Yeah, we read this. Just as a person, so I was explaining that this Sati, this lady is ready to give up her life. She is not worried about what ornaments and what clothes and what house or anything. Similarly, the one who is going to sleep also, he is not worried about what he has to do or not do in this world. He is only focused on sleep. Similar is the state of the mind of this Dhira person who is wanting to know himself. He is absolutely disinterested, indifferent, unconcerned about the world, the relative world. Absolutely unconcerned, indifferent. He reaches this high degree of dispassion and non-involvement. This high degree of dispassion and non-involvement cannot come by putting attention on the world. It can only come when your love and attention is on something higher. Whether you contemplate on the Lord, whether you chant the name of the Lord, automatically the dispassion towards the world will come. But if you keep thinking about the world and think that I am going to become dispassionate, it will only lead to agitation and frustration. It will not lead to dispassion. Dispassion is natural. It is not. It is not that you are deciding now. I'm not going to be passionate about this. I'm not going to be passionate about that. I'm not going to be attached to this. I'm not going to be. You are still thinking about the world only. Your attention must be on the higher. Then dispassion comes. His understanding becomes conducive to the contemplation of Brahman. This conducive understanding, it is intuitive. It cannot be gained from the books. It cannot be gained from a person speaking to you. You can hear the words, but those words must trigger the intuitive understanding. The teacher or the scriptures, they cannot invoke the intuitive. They can be the means, but it has to happen within. The clarity about what your purpose is, what your goal is, all this comes intuitively. It doesn't come by mere reading. Reading is necessary. When I say mere reading, when I say that these people, Mahatmas, did not have any teacher or did not study scriptures, does not mean that we should not study. I can cite you as many number of Mahatmas who have studied the scriptures and then realized also. Because that is where they found themselves. We don't have to copy anyone. You be true to yourself. This is how it is unfolding in our life. His understanding becomes conducive to the contemplation of Brahman. Meaning, sometimes see, unnecessary questions are asked in various classes. Sometimes people want to ask the correct question, but the mind takes them in a tangent and they forget what was that really they wanted to ask. Sometimes they ask a question and they are not even available to the answer. By the time you have answered, they are already thinking of the next question. Same thing happens on the seat of meditation also. The mind keeps running. How do I know the self? They say I am the self, but what do you mean by that? But what this? But that. So when we are talking about the conducive to contemplation of the Brahman, that the right questions appear within our mind so that we remain focused on the self, because there is nothing to focus on. Yeah, it's only an idea, but they become more and more focused, introvert, and eventually are with this understanding that thinking is not going to deliver them the self, yet I must think, and I must think in this manner that this thinking naturally, effortlessly, without any friction, without any cause of more thoughts, must just dissolve. That is what you asked. The thought of the I goes away. But to come to that point, it must happen. You cannot will it to make it happen. It must happen. It is self-propelled from within. It's an intuitive journey. You cannot will yourself to sleep. You can begin with willfulness, but for the sleep to come, you have to surrender to it, isn't it? You cannot keep willing. You cannot keep trying to sleep. You have to give up trying. Because till you are trying, you are not slept. So the right thoughts, the right questions, the right angle of approach to that which is the self, which the mind can never come to know, but is thinking about it, it's an intuitive journey. So the right question, all those must let those directions, what is the next stage for me, what is the next thing that I must, what sadhana I must do, or what contemplation I must do, which will take me closer to myself, so that I abide in myself. This cannot come from, I will just open one book, today I have to do this. This is not the way. It must come from within. And in this way, the teacher now gives a peculiar example to show how this Dhira Purusha is able to jump into the world and out of it in a fraction of a second. So next week we will see this verse 128 onwards, and probably we'll conclude it because 134 verses. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Just sit quietly for a minute or two.